the question that we're going to ask, with Mike responding first and Gaetan second, is, do you support the 2014 Mayor's Transportation Plan, and how would you work to get the province on side with funding?
Thanks, Greg. As a member of the Mayor's Council, yes, of course, I support the plan. That plan represents 22 of the 23 GVRD municipalities coming together in agreement where there was a lot of discussion, a lot of work went into it, and a lot of compromise. You know, Vancouver and Surrey were really pitted against each other for the major projects. And even they opened up and said, you know, the smaller communities in the northeast sector like Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows and Port Coquitlam need to be a part of this plan. So we worked hard on that plan. And then we went back to the minister who said, we want a 10-year plan and we want a 30-year vision. We provided both of those, and we are waiting now for the province to come up with their referendum question. The Mayor's Council has been quite adamant that that's not our referendum question, that is theirs. That was their choice to do that. We've given them the plan, we've given them funding options, and we're waiting for them to decide what they want to take to referendum. But we started that process with the mayors by saying, we're not coming out of this room unless we all agree and we're all willing to stand behind this plan. And we were, and it's unprecedented, I think, in this area to have a plan like that.
Thank you. Gaetan?
Yeah, thank you. The transportation plan is a document that has a foundation based on the transportation needs and some of the land use needs of the region. The major flaw that I see in the plan, and that is not being addressed, is the full integration of the transportation needs with the various priorities of the different communities. And the very structure of the governance of the governance of TransLink, as well as the governance of the various municipalities working together within Metro Vancouver, is one of the reasons why some pieces of that plan are missing.
Thank you. So, Mike, you have 30 seconds to ask Gaetan a question, and Gaetan 30 seconds to respond.
Thanks, Greg. I guess the question would be, knowing that every municipality was at the table developing that plan, how do you say that there's pieces missing from the various municipalities when they were all in agreement with it?
Well, the main piece, I think, is consultation with the various councils, including the consultation with the council here. We've had a very rare occasion to hear about this plan because there were no briefings with council at this table. There was no involvement of the public within that plan. And if I go back to what was done when the Evergreen Line selection was done here,
Gaetan,
we had 45 days.
That's 30 seconds.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. So now, Gaetan, you have 30 seconds to ask Mike a question.
Well, I'd like to ask Mayor Clay what was the extent of consultation that perhaps took place behind closed doors about the transportation plan, because we didn't hear anything raised at the council table during regular council meetings about the involvement of our fellow councillors here.
So the plan aligned with the current City of Port Moody OCP and the City of Port Moody Master Transportation Plans. It did come through council. The entire plan was rolled through council before it was endorsed and released by the Mayor's Council, and it went through the staff at the city, the engineering staff and the management staff at the city. So everybody did have an input into the plan, but there's very little in that plan that's specific to Port Moody other than the introduction of the Evergreen Line, which was already adopted by council.
Thank you, Mike. So it gives us time for our next question, and it is the one that has gathered the highest number of votes on the Pigeonhole site. And that question is, what do you feel your role is as a leader in our city when dealing with other levels of government? And Gaetan, you have first response.
I believe the role of the city is twofold, and much of that role falls within the mayor's responsibilities, and that is to be collaborative, to work with the various levels of government, and to make sure that decisions are well thought out and decisions are well discussed with our counterparts. The other role is to stand up for Port Moody and forcefully and aggressively represent the city when there's issues that are being, such as downloading of responsibilities, for example, that are being done without proper involvement and without proper consultation with the residents. And that role, that second role, is one that I've practiced in the past. For example, standing up to the BC assessment and the Port Metro Vancouver to restore $190 million of property tax value that was being reduced. And we won that case. We won that appeal.
Thank you, Gaetan. Mike?
Thanks, Greg. I think, when I came into office here, I inherited a regime where we didn't work well with senior government and with other levels of government. And it was difficult to rebuild those relationships. We were getting virtually no funding from the federal and the provincial government, and we've turned that around. We got funding for the Arts Centre, we got funding for the Moody Street overpass, for the West Hill lacrosse box, for the cycling lanes, for the roof on the rec centre. These are all things that we've done in the last 3 years, and they've been through working together with the federal and the provincial governments, where in the past we were standing up to them by picking fights with people and saying, oh, you're downloading and you're cutting off the food that we're eating on. And it wasn't collaborative. It wasn't getting good relationships with those governments. And we've been working really hard on rebuilding those, and it's having huge dividends for us. I just rattled off probably $6 million worth of projects that have happened in the last 2 years, and there's more that I can't even remember off the top of my head.
Thank you. So, Gaetan, you have an opportunity, 30 seconds to ask a question of Mike, and Mike, 30 seconds to respond.
Well, I'd like to ask Mike if he recalls many of the grants that we did receive for building the recreation center, multi-million-dollar grant, and so on. So the fact that there's a series of grants that were approved does not mean that there was no collaboration. But certainly there's been a rather weak defense of the city and its interests in a number of circumstances.
Is there a question, Gaetan? Sorry, we ran out of time now.
Run out of time.
Mike, any response?
I believe that we have, again, I'll just say it again, we've improved the relationships. We're told that from the federal and the provincial governments. The achievement that we just had recently on the Admiralty Point Park is because we worked with Belcarra and with the federal government and with Parks Canada and with Metro Vancouver and with the provincial government to get a deal done there that protects that park now as a national park. It's gone from a lease arrangement with Metro Vancouver that had no certainty. The lease expired 3 years ago. It's been sitting in limbo, and we negotiated with all levels of government to bring that back into a federal park.
Thank you so much.
For 100 years.
And gentlemen, we've used up our 7 minutes. Thank you for your debate questions today.
Thanks.
Thank you.